People who were adopted as teens. What advice would you give to someone considering to adopt a teen? I was fostered from being 13. I would say, patience, reassurance, and encouragement were what helped me the most. I remember having this fear that they would give up on me, and they kept not only verbally reassuring me that they wouldn't, but did things to show I was staying there, like redecorating my room in my favorite color, and saying I wouldn't have taken the time to do this if I wanted you to go. They showed me stability, and I'd never had that before. They were in my life, even after I moved out at 18, until they sadly passed away last year, when I was 28. They always expressed how proud they were of me, and I'd never heard that from an adult before I moved in with them. I wasn't adopted as a teenager, but I was adopted at 8 years old. I was so unbelievably lucky to have patient and understanding parents that didn't push me out of my comfort zone too quickly. They adopted my brothers when they were teenagers, and they were tougher to handle. One didn't really want anything to do with them at first, but my mom said every morning she'd ask him what he wanted to eat for breakfast, and whatever he said he wanted she'd make. He didn't come out of his room the first month, but eventually he did. Just to eat breakfast, and then go back to his room. That happened for about 7 or 8 months, I think. He'd then go to school, and then go directly to his room, till finally one day he asked, "What are we having for lunch?" Blew her away. She said, "Whatever you want." He said some simple sit down restaurant. We all went to lunch. I don't remember a lot of it, but I remember her being so happy all of us were sitting at a table together, talking even if it wasn't a lot, and enjoying lunch. She still talks about it 15 years later. I can't stress enough to just let them come to you. Obviously every kid is different. Some kids might need a push more so than others, and I still don't know how my mom knew the exact level of push all of us needed. But stress you're there for them, to help and listen, but try not to suffocate or force them to do things they don't feel comfortable with. Let them come to you. I have just been officially adopted at 17. I have been living with this family since I was 12, and I hated it at first. The first thing you should do is make it clear that you are not trying to replace their mom. That has always been a sore spot of mine. Even though you say you are not trying to replace them, be a good parent. Be the loving one who will listen to them at 3 AM when they are crying about how much they miss their family, and be the one who packs their lunch with a note. Always remind them about how you have unconditional love and will always be there to support them. But don't expect them to say "I love you" back for a while. They will hate you, despise you, and fight with you. For the first while, they will act like a guest in your house. Treat them like your own child. Refer to them as yours, unless they explicitly ask you not to. Really get to know them. Do they like pink? How soft do they want their pillow to be? What are some of their interests? Share those little moments. Keep in mind that their life has had terrible moments. They will require more help than others, but don't force them. If they go to counseling, don't force them to see a lady who smells like cats and had a terrible haircut that only wants to talk about how not having a boyfriend is their biggest problem. Okay, that's pretty specific to me, but listen, if they tell you something isn't working out overall, just be prepared to do this as not only a job, but something that will affect both yours and their life forever. I was adopted at 12, and I'm going to be honest, I hated my adopted mom for a couple years because of all the household changes and new rules that came with it. With time I learned that she was just trying to do what was best for me, and I'm truly thankful. I sincerely regret every hateful, mean, and disrespectful comment or action I ever made. Even if it looks bad, they will come around eventually if you are patient and kind to them. We clashed constantly up until she passed away, and she was the best thing to ever happen to me. A couple words of advice, please. Be patient with them. Those kids come from broken homes, don't be too hard on them. I distanced myself as much as I could from her as a kid. Because of that, try not to control them, but guide them. Even if you don't know their history, you can show them kindness they've never experienced. Before it turned my life around completely. Teens in the system aren't wanted, and the ones with disabilities usually are taken and leached off. My sister was paying rent and having the entirety of her disability check being stolen to live with her foster parents, and there's nothing that can be done about it. I wasn't allowed to contact her by her foster parents and ended up not speaking to her even through a birthday card or a letter for 15 years. She ended up extremely sheltered and scared of the outside world because they gave her no freedom. She was 21 before she got her driver's license. The kids don't know what to expect, just like you. It's a learning experience for both of you. I wasn't legally adopted, but my dad was an addict. Mom died from an overdose when I was little, and my sisters-in-laws took me in when I was 15 because my dad's home was not fit for kids in any way, shape or form. I call them my adoptive parents/family though. They saved my life. What helped me was them normalizing life. We sat at the dinner table every night together for months and talked about our day. They had 5 kids of their own already still in the house. We played board games literally every weeknight for months just to bond. They also gave me a lot of freedom. I had essentially raised myself, and they understood it was really hard to all of a sudden have structure and people who cared. So they allowed me a lot of autonomy and included me in many adult choices as well. It just really gave me stability, and I relaxed after a while and realized they weren't going to hate who I was. Obviously had major issues after being raised in an addict's home. It sounds silly I guess, but that regularity of knowing I'd come home from school to dinner being made and board games with my new family was really helpful. I was kind of adopted when I was a teen by my uncle, and I have a little bro who was officially adopted by him as a teen. He was adopted out of the foster system. You need to go into it ready to do the hard stuff and with no intentions of giving up. Teenagers are already pretty formed humans and already have a long history which has shaped them. Kids from the foster system can have years of shit that they need help with. It's not unusual that they'll test you. My little bro did something that is apparently quite common with foster kids, which was, when it was pretty much guaranteed that he was going to be adopted, he started to act out a bit and kind of push back against that security. You have to just keep going forward at that point. Don't lose your shit over setbacks. Show them that you're sticking around. You need a whole lot of patience. You need to take things slowly. Listen to them. You need to give them space sometimes. My uncle has just treated me and little bro the same as his bio kids. There's no difference between any of us. Really late to this, but I hope someone will see it. I was 9 when I was adopted, but I had emotional maturity swings. Sometimes I was as mature as the other adults in the room, and people would comment on that fact to my mother. Sometimes I was as immature as the toddlers in the room, and I was having fun, but it was made clear to me that this kind of behavior was inappropriate, unwanted, disappointing. If you're going to adopt a teenager, the first thing you need to do is understand their background. Have they been in foster care their whole life, like me? Then understand that there will be a slew of trust issues coming your way. They will not want to trust you. They will not want to be close to you, at least not in the beginning. Expect a few I hate yous. Expect at least one runaway situation, because it's not going to be easy. All you can do is let that child know that you're going to do everything you can to make sure they don't get taken away from you, because you chose them and you love them. If you end up with one like me, with these emotional maturity swings, please don't make them feel like you're disappointed in them. If they are just having fun, if they are being little brats, I can understand saying something, but I got told watching cartoons was for little kids, and that just because I was playing with little kids didn't mean I had to act like them. At 9 years old, It doesn't really matter the age of the teen you adopt. If they've been in foster care their whole life, they're going to feel unwanted. Do everything you can to make them feel wanted. Make them feel safe. If there are moments when they want to talk, then you be there for them and you listen. If there are moments when they just want to be near you, you stop whatever you're doing and you be with them. If there are moments when they just want to watch cartoons and make happy memories to replace their childhood, damn it, you let them watch cartoons and you never make it a negative experience for them. Just remind them that everything should be done in moderation, and you remember that too. I was adopted as a teenager and the best memories I have are from open communication. My parents adopted me and a sibling and we were both teenagers. They had an open communication rule. Regardless of how bad or good, we could talk to them about anything. We grew up in foster care and were always mistreated. When we met our new parents, they treated us like humans. They cared about our needs, immediately introduced us to their family, and took us on their family vacations. It made us feel like we were wanted, and we never wanted to leave their home. After some back and forth, they asked us if they could adopt us. It was the greatest feeling ever. Treat your adopted children as your own. Involve them, talk with them. Simple necessities are crucial. Express your love and never give up on them. We lose our biological parents for many reasons and have been through a lot. We have ghosts and skeletons in our closets, and with a kind, loving parent's help, can overcome anything. Good luck and I hope the very best for your new family. Edit. I was 13 and sibling 15. Not adopted personally, but my close friend was adopted when she was about 8 or 9. I knew her by one name her whole life, but it was by a first name that her adoptive parents changed to in the middle of her life, not her birth name. She has a strained relationship with her adoptive parents and years later, changed to her birth name again. Something that wasn't necessarily supported by her now ex-husband for some reason. My stepdad was named and adopted from birth. The parents loved him unconditionally, supported him, and never stigmatized the fact that he was adopted, and didn't keep the fact that he was adopted, or circumstances for his birth mother giving him up from him his whole life. He turned out fine, and has a strong relationship with his parents and birth parents. Love and support your children, raise them, but don't force them into a completely strict way of life, as if they've had some traditional upbringing, and are bad kids. Don't try to erase their life before their gotcha day, or when you first met. Don't stigmatize and overtly criticize their relationship with birth parents, because their identity might be shaped from the positive traits they picked up, or remembered from them. It's caught in the crossfire.